How's it going, guys? Hope you all having a fantastic day. My name is DeSynkro, and I got a quick question for you all. What is Back4Blood? Back4Blood is a first-person zombie survival run-and-gun game being developed by Turtle Rock Studios, the same beautiful people responsible for the masterpieces known as Left4Dead and Left4Dead 2, and being published by Warner Brothers Games. The game is a 4-player co-op just like the company's predecessor, and many are saying that the quality of the gameplay that is shown in just the closed beta is far comparable to that of Left4Dead. At the current making and recording of this video, the game is still currently in the closed beta stage, with the open beta to be scheduled for availability on the 12th of August, and the full game is scheduled for its full release in the 13th of October this year. Footage of the gameplay is from my live stream on Twitch. Come tune in if you have any questions and want to learn more about the game. I stream Monday to Friday, starting at 4 PM Australia West Standard Time. Also, keep in mind that the game is currently in beta, so any opinions I have on the game right now will most likely be subjected to change in the near future. Let's talk about the good stuff. This game can be described in nothing short of phenomenal. It is true to the developer's previous work. If you have ever played any of the Left 4 Dead series, this game feels instantly familiar, and the best way that can be described is a sequel with a different name. It is not only cross-platform, meaning you can play with friends who are also in consoles, such as PlayStation and Xbox, but it's also advertised as a cross-generation game, which what I imagine means is the game is also coming to previous generation consoles, and you'll be able to play with your friends that way as well. And if I were to put it in short words, it's Left 4 Dead with amazing new features and mechanics, a whole new form of an infection instead of your standard zombie virus, new special infected, and mini bosses. If you love the Left 4 Dead series, this is a game you will definitely enjoy, and if you're someone who didn't like Left 4 Dead, I suggest still giving this a try, as there are certain things you might like that's far improved from the developer's previous game. From my personal experience as well, the game has been very well polished, even during the beta, with very few bugs being encountered, and the few bugs that were encountered were actually rather comedic, such as a zombie's ragdoll clipping through an object and spazzing the hell out, or one of the infected not reacting to us being right in front of it. The game's control and mechanics are very fluent and quite incredible. You feel as if you are in control of your character the whole time and where you're aiming. During my time playing the game, there was never a point where I ever felt like I was fighting for the controls. Just about every single key in the game can be rebound, and things like graphics, field of view, subtitles, text-to-speech, and all that good stuff can all be changed in the menu. The game's graphics aren't the most out of this world, but they are really good, and the lighting engine is just really spectacular. The game is also incredibly optimized. Throughout my playthrough without streaming, I was constantly sitting at 144 FPS at the maximum graphics, and even whilst I was streaming, I was getting something or other of 60 to 70 plus FPS constantly, with it rarely dipping anywhere below. Also, I do apologize for not showing any footage of the menus and settings being changed. I was unable to access the game due to it being down for maintenance as they are preparing for the open beta. And yes, I did say down for maintenance, but we'll be talking about that soon. So what does the game bring to the table? You are getting your hands on some really fun hours of gameplay with friends or random people that you lobby up with for some incredible campaigns. At the moment of this beta, there's only one act available, but more to be released in the full game. The current available act has a total of 8 maps that change a little bit with each time you play. I've had multiple occasions where certain rooms and certain doors were shuffled around or led to a completely different room entirely, with 3 difficulty levels which can be described as easy, not so easy, and prepare your ass. The massive jump in between the second and third difficulty makes me think that there's a 4th one coming that we're not aware of, because the immense spike in difficulty level is just way too significant. In the first difficulty level, we were able to complete the game with some challenges along the way. The second, we managed to get to the last few missions before we failed, and the third, we barely managed to get 20 feet out of the safe room on the very first mission. The game lets you start your campaign from whichever act you have unlocked. You can either start from the very beginning or specific points in the game if you have them unlocked. It lets you invite your friends to your lobby before starting your run or even midway through your run. If you're in a rush and you don't want to wait, you can simply click the quick queue button and you'll be thrown in a game that's already started or is about to start. Back4Blood has a small lobby area for you and your teammates to walk around in, talk to NPCs to open menus such as your card deck system, versus mode, or campaign, and potentially more in the future, and even try out the firing range with every weapon and attachment available. The best part about this lobby area, for those who are not the most fond of them, you don't even have to talk to the NPCs to open the menu. Hitting tab or any other button you bind the two lets you select any of the menus available without having to talk to any of the NPCs. Every weapon in the game can be fitted with different attachments that you can find or buy as you progress through the acts. And I say buy because at the beginning of every single map, whilst you're in the safe room, you can use copper, a currency that you can find scattered throughout the maps, or earned by completing certain tasks to buy items, specific ammo for each of your weapons that you're using, grenades, pipe bombs, medications, health packs, different weapons, and if you're the team player, upgrades for not only yourself, for your entire team as well, which allows you to carry things like extra grenades, medication, and even improve the efficiency of each tool. As previously mentioned, the game also has a unique card deck system, which is something I've not seen in a lot of games before. As you go completing maps and acts, you will get supply points, which you can then use to purchase different cards that you can build a deck with, which will either make you or your team's life a lot easier as you progress throughout the levels. At the start of every map, you will get to pick one card from the preset deck or the deck that you've created. You will also be given one or multiple random corruption cards that may make your journey a little bit more difficult, giving an extra diverse challenge with each run. The cards you receive are completely randomized, so every single playthrough becomes a bit different with a potential new challenge. The game also features a versus mode, which allows you to play as the infected on a best out of 3 survival game mode. It's a 4 survivors versus 4 variant infected, only this time you're competing on who can survive the longest for a best out of 3. As a survivor, you get limited time to loot and prepare for an attack, and you have to survive as long as you can before you get taken out. Depending on how long it takes for the survivors to die, you will then rotate and play as the opposite team. As the infected, your job is to kill the survivors as fast as possible or beat the current survival time. If you survive for 2 minutes as a survivor, your job as the infected is to defeat the enemy team before they manage to survive for those 2 minutes. Teamwork is vital. The card system is also available in versus mode, but in a different method, as you get to pick multiple cards instead of just one at the beginning of the run. The game also includes multiple survivors that you can choose from, currently 5 with a lot more to come. Each survivor has its own unique perk that will benefit you, and a secondary perk that will benefit your team. Picking a character is no longer about the visual aspect of it, but also picking the right character can highly benefit your team. Throughout your run, the characters will interact with one another with some really well-written banter, a few references to other games, funny moments, a bit of backstory, and much more, making the journey to the next safe room a lot more enjoyable and interesting. It makes you excited as to what the next line of dialogue is going to be when they start talking to one another. Now that I've rambled about some of the cool things this game has to offer, let's talk about some of the bad stuff. I mentioned earlier that this game was down for maintenance as they prepare for the open beta, which makes me think that the game could potentially be an always online game. This raises a red flag for me. Comparing to the Left4Dead series, which wasn't always online, this could lead to the game being more difficult to be accessed in places and in homes where a person's internet is potentially unstable or not as good, as well as the game having times where a majority of the players won't be able to play for it being down for maintenance purposes. Whether or not this decision is subject to change in the future is something we'll eventually find out closer to the game's full release. This also makes me wonder if the game will have any form of modding capabilities, or if they'll release any form of modding tools. One of the main reasons Left 4 Dead 2 is still alive and healthy to this very day is the countless mods, skins, and maps that have been created by the community. Seeing an amazing game such as this potentially missing out on a vital feature makes me fear for the lifespan of the game. Keep in mind as well that this is all speculation based on my personal experience. I also mentioned that the game has 3 difficulty levels, and whilst I don't think it's necessarily a huge negative, I think it needs to be noted that there is a huge jump in difficulty, making me think there's meant to be another difficulty level in between. And another thing that needs to be pointed out is the game's price range is unfortunately not the most affordable for everyone. It currently has 3 available versions on Steam for purchase, ranging from the base version costing $89.95 Australian dollars to the most expensive Ultimate Edition setting you back $149.95 Australian dollars. What do I think of the game? It is a great game, closely following the footsteps of the Left 4 Dead series and adding a lot more to it. Having the freedom to take their own approach to the game and even using an entirely different engine is something that has led to a lot of improvement and really fun features. The new infection style is also really well made and makes you curious as to what this new infection entices. Is it a lab form virus? Is it some sort of spore? A new virus in the air? Who knows? The new characters are also really well designed and voice acted, so far Holly and Evangelo being my two favorites out of the 5 available, and making me eager to see what new characters we will be able to play as the game progresses and whether or not we will be able to make our very own characters. Whilst it's difficult to give a verdict during a game's beta stage, I have to thus far give this game a very strong 8 out of 10. I will most likely make another video on it, adding to my experiences when the full game is released. I can safely say I am very eager for the opportunity to play with my community in the fast approaching open beta. I am also very curious to see what the developers will deliver as the game comes close to its full release. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, make sure you like and subscribe, as there will be plenty more videos made like this in the near future.